Looks like we are live. Matthew, Francis, how you going, dude?
Fantastic. Good week. And yourself?
Yep, you know the rules. Every day's a good day, so can't complain. We've got our virtual summit going live tomorrow for all of our members around the
Yeah.
world.
How good will that be?
It's going to be good fun. Profit levers and time multipliers is the title, but a couple of things that I'm most looking forward to. We're doing a materials delay and price rises panel with four pretty cool guests. So we've got Russell Clark from Licensed Renovations, an absolute legend in the renovation space, who will be unpacking stuff with all of our members around that topic. Joined by the one and only Marty Amos as well, obviously, founder of Professional Builder here. We've got Zane Beckett from ZB Homes, winner of the Deloitte Fast 50, New Zealand's fastest growing company. First time a construction company's won that in 2017. And then Chris Fairburn as well, who heads up Placemakers director there, or sorry, I'm not sure of his exact title, might not be a director, but one of the big shots there at Placemakers and full of industry insight and knowledge, particularly around the material stuff.
Local merchant here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, what are we covering today, man?
We are covering all things hiring. So one of the big questions we get all the time is, can't find good guys. How do I hire? Holy shit, I either got no applicants or I got a ridiculous truckload of applicants. I'm drowning right now. You just don't know if they're any good until they started. All these things. And look, there's no one solution, but we're going to unpack what we call our ABH framework, always be hiring framework. And we're going to provide for you just a couple of key insights across it because it's so broad and it's really deep. It actually takes us with our members anywhere from realistically, if you're really motivated, like 15 days, right through to sort of 65 if you're a little bit slower working with our team to implement this entire full scope thing. But today we're going to break it down for you, literally see a little bit behind the curtain, because in all honesty, last couple of weeks, we've been working on this a lot with a bunch of members. So should we jump right into it?
Yeah, let's do it. It's definitely something we hear a lot. So excited to see it in full.
100%. And you know, as we go through this, make sure you guys, if you're watching from home, either post in your questions or hit us with your favorite emoji or the emoji that's at the top of your previously used if you're watching with us, or at least post us in a question, or even say, like, who is the next person you're hiring, and we can unpack this with you together now. So I'm going to jump right into it. The big goal of when we're hiring people is getting them to free up your time and help you build to budget, to timeline, and make sure they can come in and help you as best as possible. So that's the goal, okay? That's up here. That's kind of the moon in my little sketch here. We've got the rocket heading there, okay?
Jeff Bezos.
And thank you very much. I'm not an architect, but I am a beautiful artist. So please be gentle with me. So to get from the launch pad of nobody in that role to placing somebody so that they can be achieving their goals, winning for you, hitting timelines, budgets, milestones, whether that be in the office or on site, there are three big things that could go wrong and often do, and that we need to approach and take care of, okay? So those three things look like this. This is the attraction phase. This is making sure that we are fishing for the right people, that we have a clear job ad, and that we're using our 51-point checklist to differentiate ourselves from all the other job ads out there, so that we're not just competing on market salary or paying above that to attract the best people, okay? Just like when you're marketing for jobs, you want to be competing on things other than price, right? Your team, your specialty, your expertise, your process, previous projects that you've done. If we're just talking about price, then they're going to make a decision on price. If we're educating the prospect on all these other things, they've got more variables to make their decision, and that's kind of what we need to do in the attraction phase. A lot of people get this wrong, okay? And when you do get it wrong, all right, there is often no to low volume, okay? So not enough people applying for the job, or there's low quality. You get shitty people applying. We've all been
Not
there.
what we want. Yeah. So it's sort of like standing out from the crowd, right?
Exactly. And also being very clear about who you do want and very clear about who you don't want. There's a couple of really key things in job ad template that you should swipe and deploy if you're looking to hire. Because if you get this part wrong, then the quality, well, shit runs downhill, right? So the quality for the rest of your hiring process is going to be pretty mediocre, and that's not what we want. We want to improve the process at the earliest point so that, just like quality assurance, you're not getting to the end and then realizing that you're comparing two mediocre players against one another. We want to improve the quality right at the very beginning rather than ripping all the floorboards back up because we made a mistake with the pre-line or anything like that.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
So the next part is the hiring phase. Like, you've got some applicants, we actually need to hire them now. And when we're unpacking this part, okay, we're really looking at your process and putting people through pressure, okay? So when we're talking about process, we're talking about like qualifying questions, we're talking about scripts, particularly also through like reference. And we're also looking at the offer and how you present that to them, okay? Yep. Rather than just going like, hey man, you seem great. Let's get you started and let's give you 45 an hour, 55 an hour, like whatever an hour. It doesn't actually matter, but let's not do that. We need to make sure we present it properly. Just like when you're presenting a quote, you're not presenting 4 pages of numbers, because then they're going to go like, well, this line item seems a bit expensive. I know my mate or my uncle's friend's second cousin's auntie owns a flooring company. They might be able to do it cheaper. That's
not what we want. Yeah.
100%.
And especially now with, so much competition in the market, right? It's probably even more important to make sure your offer stands out.
100%. Because if you don't get these things right, you don't get this phase correct, then there is often no fit, okay? So you're actually not a fit, or you don't recognize that until it's too late. And you're like 3 or 4 weeks in, you're like, oh, man, we have stuffed up, to put it politely. And there's also, at this point, what's really key that a lot of people don't consider is no collaboration.
What does that mean?
So what that means is most people come into the offer part and into trying to hire people from a negotiation standpoint. Trying to negotiate you down, trying to get you on the cheapest rate. You as maybe the carpenter, the office manager, the project manager, the qualified guy, the chippy, the estimator, the whoever, right, that I might be looking for, is trying to negotiate me up, trying to get the best possible package, okay? Yep. When really the conversation needs to be around collaboration. We need to ship 10 homes a year, 25 homes a year. We need to manage, you to manage an entire site, full scope, be checking in daily, be updating the project management software. We need to collaborate together, and we need to make sure that we get the best fit for each other. When there's none of these 4 key things that I've listed here, and there's no focus or attention on the hiring phase, okay, there is no collaboration, and it's usually going to flow downhill to it not being a good fit. Does that make a bit more sense?
Yeah, I guess it's sort of expectations, right? You set those expectations for the candidate in that stage.
Absolutely bang on, okay? And that also then needs to flow through to this part here, which is the onboarding phase. So the onboarding phase is all about how do we get them kickstarted and winning as fast as possible, right? Yep. And then how do we train to retain, all right? So when we're looking at this part, we're typically looking at your one-on-ones. We're typically looking at your scorecards. We're looking at your scope of responsibility, and we're looking at what we call the perfect week. Okay? Now, when this isn't done correctly, I'm running out of space here on my whiteboard. I'm going to go up here. When this isn't done correctly, we have no accountability. Okay, and we also have no progress. Okay, So people aren't held accountable to what they need to be getting done, what your expectations were. And when expectations aren't met, that leads to anger, right? And frustration. So there's no accountability and there's also no progress. And what I mean by that is full scope, like no career progression. They're not going to go from apprentice to qualified to foreman to project manager, or from any of those points up one level, okay? And there's also just no progress in the day-to-day. They're not taking on any more responsibility, not taking improving their skills or anything like that, okay? There's no progress for them as well. And that's where you're like, well, fuck, I got this like B grade guy who's like fine, but it's kind of like death by 1,000 paper cuts. One week he's excellent, the other week he's a D or a C minus. Right?
I think that's such a big part of what a lot of building company owners miss is assuming that because someone has the skills as a carpenter or as a foreman that they're just going to instantly slot into the business and start doing a great job and start buying back all the time of the owner. But every business is different and operates differently and does different types of jobs, and that onboarding is really about getting them sort of hooked into that new process, right?
Yeah, 100%. So this little rocket's heading to the moon. Okay,
Moon.
We're going to the moon. Very apt. And this is the NASA version. Okay, this is literally still the 30,000 foot little sketch. There are lots of nuances, lots of checklists, lots of really key little things that you need to get right at every single one of these stages. And within each of these stages is often 3 or 4 other checklist templates or how-tos, right? Mm-hmm. But if we're chunking right up, this is the launch sequence, this is the flight path that you can non-negotiably not attack. You can non-negotiably not take off and take care of your attraction phase, your hiring phase, your onboarding phase, because if you fail on any one of these 3, you've got a 2-legged stool, and it's going to be an absolute shit show, right?
Speed wobbles.
What's that?
I said you'll get the speed wobbles.
100%. You get the speed wobbles too, right? Like there's a rocking chair, they're good, but they're not 2-legged or 1-legged, right? Yep. 1-legged and 2-legged stools are not rocking chairs. They're accidents waiting to happen. And you're never going to raise to the level of your hustle and motivation. It's not sustainable. And that's often what people do when they're trying to hire. They're doing it reactively rather than proactively. They're hustling and being motivated to plug the bleeding neck or find somebody quickly. Okay.
Yeah, so true. And it's such a sort of sporadic thing, because you can be fine for a year. Your guys are staying there. You're in a good place, and then all of a sudden, one guy ups and decides to start his own business or moves states with his family, and then all of a sudden you're in a position where you're having to do something that maybe you haven't thought about for 12 months. And then you're trying to remember, where did I leave that? What's the login to the local, job ad website that I use? So I think having a process and a system to follow makes it all a lot easier and easier to replicate as well, right?
100%. So there's a lot of questions that are going on at the moment. We're actually going to address these tomorrow in our summit, particularly on our panel around material delays and price rises. A lot of questions around things like, what's the I'm reading this one from our Facebook community right now, and we're going to address it tomorrow. Right? So this is from a member in Melbourne. Organizational structure is something I struggle with, particularly trying to grow the team whilst there are so many delays on materials, making it hard to forecast work with any accuracy. Like, yeah, 100%.
Bang on.
Yeah, bang on the money. And this is not a direct solution, but this is one of the areas that you need to dial in and get right, so that when you go through periods of change or pressure comes on, you fall to the level of your system, this thing here. You don't rise to the level of your motivation or your hustle. Okay.
Yeah. What are we hooking the people up with today as well?
Yeah. So there are heaps of things in here, but the best thing that we can hook you up with straight away, it's going to have immediate help for you, is going to be this stuff down here. And that's not the one. I want my nice, sexy little highlighter. Is this stuff down here? Okay, so that you're able to go fishing in the right ponds for the right kind of people, so that you don't get low quality people so that we're also going to hook you up with the stuff down here so that you're able to get higher volume of applicants, because everybody looks good in isolation. You need a good volume of people, just like you need a good volume of leads. So you know what a good lead looks like, a good applicant looks like. Everybody looks good in isolation. You need a yardstick. Yep. Otherwise, everyone's going to be like, oh, fantastic. He says he can do this.
Yeah. The one guy's the answer. That's never the answer.
That's not true. So we want to get you hooked up with the stuff in the attraction phase so that you can get a higher volume of applicants and a higher quality of people. Okay, so type in below attract, okay, or message us attract, and we will hook you up with the stuff to attract you higher quality applicants and a higher volume of those applicants as well, with things like where to go fishing for them, what your job ad should look like, include and exclude, okay, what your 51 points of differentiation can be, so that you can pick and choose one or two of those things to really call out, so you're not just competing on paying above or at market rates, you're also competing on your culture, your team, your quality of work, your career progression, all these other things that go into it. It's 51 points. I'm not going to list them all. Okay?
Yeah.
Hopefully that's helpful.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, looking forward to seeing the team tackle this in the summit tomorrow.
Hard out. I can't wait. Summit's always good fun. We've also got our member of the quarter, Mr. Todd Flashman, who will be running us through some behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
We've also got Marty going through a 24 point fast growth checklist with everybody. We're going to be going through 2-minute tactics. We're going to be going through masterminding sessions. There's going to be a couple of other guests as well. And we can't wait. Corridor conversations are always my favorite also. So here's your success.
Absolutely.
We might see you on the line tomorrow. If not, take care. Attraction below. And Matthew, is there anything you want to leave everybody with?
No, definitely. I think we covered it all today. I think you've got to have it makes sense when you look at it from having a process. That's the best way to get the right kind of people. It is difficult at the moment. Like it's hard everywhere. There's big macroeconomic things happening with employment and everything. So, there are headwinds, but, being at the top of the pile is definitely where you want to be. You don't want to be, you don't want to have the worst attraction process in the market. Otherwise, you're going to get poor candidates.
100%. Just really quickly on that. There's always going to be things working against you. And the definition of a recession is drop by 30%, right? Which basically means the bottom 30% of the market or the least resilient 30% of people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even want to be in the middle 50% of people. If you're watching this, if you're serious, you're probably aiming for the top 10 to 5% of humans out there, right? Because you're clearly motivated to systemize your business or improve your situation. Most likely move from hopefully not that bottom 30%, because if that's where you are, you need to get out of there immediately, but probably more that middle 50%, getting into the top 20 to 10% of people. And that's what putting clear systems in place, building resilience amongst your team, making sure that you don't just die by the power of one, okay? But you've got good processes is all about. So, yeah, I'm hearing you, Matthew.
Win more. Absolutely.
Win more. Bloody oath. Cool. Well, let's wrap it up there. Take care, dude. I'll see you later.
Guys. Bye.